30, meeting will come to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Bunting.
Present.
Commissioner Gay.
Here.
Commissioner Sapsy.
Here.
Commissioner Owens.
Here. George, we get you to pray for us?
Bow your heads, please. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the day and the blessings you've given to us. We ask, Father, for continued prayers for our servicemen and women abroad and at home. We ask continued prayers for our first responders, Father. We also thank you for the prayer that our farmers would be safe and they'd have a bountiful harvest. For the most part, it's all in, and Father, the word that we hear is it's been a bountiful harvest, and we just thank you for that. We ask, Father, you be with us tonight, the deliberations, so that we could do the best for the folks of Gratiot County. For it's his name we pray, amen.
Amen. Join us for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We made a couple of changes in new business. We're going to move number 5 to number 2. And we're going to add number 6 for consideration to move the December meeting from the 3rd to the 10th.
Was the meeting change?
From December 3rd to December 10.
The 3rd's pretty close to Thanksgiving.
And then I wanted to also point out that the MMR response times have been posted to extra, but the commissioners have it at their, it didn't make the packet.
Then I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Support. Moved by George, supported by Steve, to accept the amendment, accept the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Any public comment? No. Okay, consideration of the consent calendar.
Move the consent calendar.
Moved by George, supported by Steve, to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Okay. Okay, administrators report.
After about 6 months of shopping, we have found some displays for Mr. Bacher's historical collection that will be stored up on the 3rd floor. So if you wander up on the 3rd floor over by the Register of Deeds office, you will see lighted display and a very large hutch that was moved in by our staff. I appreciate that. Hopefully soon we'll be able to have Mr. Bacher come in here and give a presentation to the board members on the artifacts that he would like to put on display for the public up there. This last week, the fuel tank removal from the airport project had been completed. So tomorrow we have airport advisory committee. So those on the committee will be able to see the progress that's been made out there. The LED light transition has been on hold for a couple weeks. Unfortunately, our contractor has been out and unable to work on that, but we hope to get that project up and going again, especially here in the commissioner's room. I know that everybody is excited to actually see the progress, and you may not make it around the courthouse as much as you do within this room. On Thursday, the 21st at noon, we have our November employees potluck, which you are all invited to. It'll be down in the break room. I want to say thank you, George, for donating for the turkey for the employees for that. It will be a Thanksgiving themed potluck. So
What is the date again?
the 21st, Thursday, in 2 days.
Oh, on Tuesday.
There is an entrance fee of 2 canned goods for donation to the community cabinet for $5, I believe. So dig into that, cabinet and see if you can't find some canned goods that we can donate. We also did have some delays in our chart of accounts update that Woodhill Group is working on. The draft was completed and submitted to BSNA. BSNA approved it, but JIS, which is a software system that our courts used, said it would not work, would not interface with their system. So draft 2 has been submitted to BSNA, and we're hoping that we can get that taken care of very soon. We are in process of year-end closing for accounting, getting ready for audit. Woodhill Group is also working on that. I've been able to put in some significant time into combing through our accounting systems in the last week. And I want to say that the work that the treasurer's office has been doing has been phenomenal. Everything seems to be buttoned right up. We have been hosting some students from the Community-Based Education Center in St. Louis 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, about an hour to an hour and a half each. They are, it's in an adult classroom that is supervised by some parapros. They come to the courthouse to learn lifetime skills and work skills. So they've been working with various departments. I know the sheriff's office has volunteered to have them come over and spend some time with them over there too. Not policing, but doing other functions within the office. So this is hopefully the start of a relationship that we can have with the RESD going forward.
They did a great job on the windows. I was here today while they were doing the front windows. They did a great job.
Did they?
Yeah, I stopped and talked to them on my way out and they did well.
So they did the vestibule walkthrough type?
Yep. They were
Okay.
doing that. They were doing a great job and,
Wonderful.
yep.
Thank you for that feedback.
Yep.
We intend to post the animal control director position shortly. The intention is to have an offer to a new director in the middle of December, so that we have plenty of time for any type of training or transition that position might be required. So that will be hitting the website and postings soon. We also have a part-time senior center coordinator position that is open at COA. So that will be closing the 29th of next week. So people can get online and apply for that part-time position.
That's for the one in Elma. That position is for the one in Elma, I believe.
Okay.
Aero Center,
No. The senior center.
Senior Center.
I'll call it the garage.
That's not the Ithaca Senior Center that.
No, the garage. They call the garage in Elma.
Very good. Well, thank you for that. And that concludes my update.
George, what have you got?
Oh, man, I got so many things. I attended the Hamilton Township meeting Monday night. They're really entrenched in doing their haul. They've got a lot of different decisions to make, and they do have the drywall up now. The big decision that they've been, and I just contacted Tom before the meeting, a well. Their well they were hoping to use has run dry. So they're gonna have to drill a new well. So there was some discussion with the health department on where to put the well. On Thursday, they were gonna make a decision, and I heard from Tom today, they have made a decision and it's workable. So they're gonna move forward with that, so. That was one of the big sticking points they had, but it looks like it's gonna work itself out. Also attended the North Star meeting. They're getting their township hall a facelift. Brad Shaw has been working out there on it. He's a local contractor doing a great job. Mostly on the outside. They're gonna do some inside things too, but not to the extent that they're doing the outside, new siding, new roof. They've done a lot And that building is older than I thought it was. It's over 20 years old, that building. I didn't realize it was that old, but it looks brand new.
Mhm.
And of course, they had their normal discussions on what's going on and the continuing theme, the cemetery always seems to come up in every meeting and they talk about that. So, and then, on Tuesday, I attended the Lafayette Township meeting. They had a fellow from one of the local refuge places, and they were trying to see what his cost would be to do their two townships, Emerson and Hamilton, and they're still in talks. They didn't make a decision, so they're still talking about that. Then I went to Wheeler Township. Of course, I came in right at the end of the conversation about the blight problem with the building that we have in Wheeler Township, and that's going to be a continuing talk for a while. And so, but they also brought up the fact that, and we'll hear about that later on, that they did so well on their bidding for their sewer project that they had some extra funds. And I told them that they didn't have a lot of time, that they should submit that right away for a revision in the contract, which we've done many times. So we will see that later on tonight. And so, and last night was unusual. Breckenridge, because of the Thanksgiving holiday, had their meeting last night instead of on the fourth Monday. So I went to that. And their discussion, there were more, well, it would be like their meeting after an election. They sworn in their officers. They picked board committees such as planning commission, fire board, that type of thing. They did all that. So it was more of a housekeeping night. And so that was that done. And that's what I got.
On November 12th, Tuesday, I went to the Alma City Commission meeting, and there are a lot of Alma College students there. There are so many, the room, the meetings in, the walls fold up, they are collapsible, and there are a lot of chairs out in the hallway. So just a lot of people, a lot of young, Alma College. They did it for like a civics class. One thing of interest they talked about is this Brownsfield, I think apartments, the 311 East Superior building that's empty that used to be the Morning Sun. They're gonna redo that for apartments or motel. I don't know. Like they did the 313 North State building, but that's where the family business was in one time. So,
You remember that address, huh?
what?
You remember that address, huh?
Oh, I should. Oh, yes. November 13th, I went to Arcata Township Wednesday. They're in good financial shape. They talk about land division a lot, and they did one particular case of that. October 9th, I saw in the past, so they had a good turnout for their first township wide cleanup day. They had 50 residents participating. And then on Thursday, November 14th, I went to the mental health meeting, and they approved a bunch of policies. Presentation by people that work in the public schools like St. Louis and Alma, and, kids that having
Had problems.
And also, they, a lady, Taylor Hirschman, they handle phone calls, it's not like 911. They're not 20, but they handle a bunch of, people have problems and they handle phone calls. Jeremy Murphy, he's the financial guy at Mental Health. And he says that they're in good financial health, shape, good financial shape. Medicare could be a problem. Other than that, and that's it.
Thank you. Steve?
Let's see, on the 11th, which was Veterans Day, I spoke with some of the veterans that live in my district, just different ones reached out. Some of them I seen in person, some I just talked to them on the phone, thanked them. People that I've known most of my life that I knew are veterans. So Tuesday, there was a meeting with the Pine River Watershed. It ended up being canceled that you and I were supposed to go to, but they canceled it. Tuesday night, the 12th, I went to the Alba Township meeting. Fairly quick meeting, not a ton on the agenda there. Passed over the two meetings that I went to on the night of the Veterans Day. They were down in my agenda things, but started the night at Newark. Newark's kind of phasing out. They have 3 people switching on their board, so I guess kind of a farewell meeting kind of thing for them. They were getting everything, introduced me to all their new people and stuff, so that was nice. I left there, kind of caught the end of if I'd have been 5 minutes later, I'd have missed the New Haven meeting altogether, because they had a quick meeting as well. One of their only new member was there, so I got to meet them. They were discussing, after I did my report, they discussed that they've had a water pipe break in their women's bathroom, which caused some extensive damage, which after having a contractor come out there to look at it, opened Pandora's box, I guess, if you will, on some other issues that need to be updated. There was a discussion on whether or not there was any of the ARPA funds available. I simply stated that they needed to contact Chris, because Chris keeps the running tally of how that's going. And I know that they reached out to you because that's in as well. So I mentioned that I didn't know what funds were available, if any, but I needed them to reach out and make contact with you, which they did, to see their township has not asked for any funds from the county. I didn't realize that, but I wasn't on the board when most of that stuff happened. So I did not realize that they had not previously asked for any funds from the township or from the county. Let's see. Last night, I did not go to the North Shade Township meeting because of a family emergency that was going on, but did get several text messages after the fact. It was a very quick meeting for them. They didn't really have anything other than they kind of had their farewell to Kathy there. This is the end of her. She's been on, maybe Angie, you know how long she's been for a long time there. So it was kind of a sad farewell for her because she's done a great job for them and get some big shoes for them to fill. But other than that, they really didn't have any agenda items because a couple of their trustees didn't show up. So everything got postponed until the next meeting. So that was the gist of that one. So.
Jen?
Okay, I had a couple of real big meetings in the last couple of weeks. One of the meetings I was at yesterday was Michigan Works. And I have a packet here, it's 40 pages. And basically, these are the costs. This is in-house cost. And I'm going to give our administrator a copy of this. Is there anybody else that would like a copy to look through? I'm still looking through it and doing some numbers and stuff like that. But we've had some that's retired off the committee or off the board, and then we have new ones that's coming on, Michigan Works. And there's a lot going on with Michigan Works. But I don't want to go into that right now. I think I'll wait until Chris has a chance to go through this also, and we can discuss some of it on here. And then another meeting that I went to was MMR. This would be the last meeting that I just went to for this year. This meets quarterly, and I do have the numbers. And I think I get those, I think you guys have the numbers.
For the response times.
And we
Response times and
Yeah,
stuff.
got it.
I think I'm missing a paper on that. I have been busy. I keep throwing everything in my car. Then when I go to look for it, I've mixed it in with other stuff, so I need to double check that too. But anyway, the contract is due for the ambulance service. And there's quite a history on this, but what I'd like to see us do is read this over. And I'm inviting our head guy from MMR that represents, it would be Gratiot, Isabel County, and Clare County. At one time, he represented 7 counties, but now they've, hired more people and trained them, and it's grown from, I can remember when there was like 5 counties, now there's 17 counties. So that tells you how much they've grown. But he'll come and he'll tell you the history of it and how the whole thing got started. And that would have been 1996. And I came on the board in 2001. And one of the things that I did since I've been on the board was there was a can't say it now, a conflict of interest for them to do the minutes. So I started doing the minutes back in 2001 for MMR. And the minutes are not with this. I misplaced it in my car, but it's been a busy week and busy time with the election. So anyway, I would like to see us, all you guys to read this contract. And then at our next meeting, which we'll talk about, will be the 10th of December. I'll invite him to come and he'll be able to give you, it used to be years ago, he came every other year when there was an election, and they'd bring some guys and do a movie and bring some equipment and stuff like that. Just it was kind of a fun time, and we advertised it. If there was people in the community that wanted to come and see the ambulance, and they have golf carts and they tell why they have them, and they also have helicopters and all this stuff. So he can kind of call, or he can come and it's more interesting to hear him tell about it and to show you the pictures and stuff like that. And I'm sure once you read this, you can write down some questions that you might have too. And he's glad to come anytime too. And then also, I usually thought I gave my minutes to, or the times that they run on the ambulance and stuff. And I might, because of the election year, I don't know. Angie, did I give you all of them this year?
I did go back and I saw that I had them for May.
For May, okay. And would be August, and that you didn't get, that's when I probably was really busy with the election, right after August. I think we had the election, and right after that, we had our meeting in August. We meet 4 times a year to get the response times. And we also meet other times if there's any questions or problems in the community. That's usually brought to our board, and we discuss it and make sure that we get it taken care of. And there is an awful lot to MMR. I mean, I could probably spend a couple hours telling you about it.
Please don't.
And I have to tell you, I've been writing the minutes. I have every single minutes since I started. And we used to meet like I think it was every other month. And then we went to 4 months because, everything gets busier. You grow and you get bigger and more things going on. But anyway, if you have any questions or anything that that you would like to know, that's maybe call me. I can get a hold of Brent and tell him what some of the questions are. And if he wants to bring a movie or slides or anything like that, he can. And also I'll probably have him get a hold of our tech guy. So maybe we can show movies on one of our screens. Would that be okay?
I'll get a hold of Brett.
Okay, that would be good.
I'll talk with him.
Okay, that would be good.
Okay.
So other than that, that's, some of these are quarterly meetings. I'm kind of glad we're at the end of the year. Next year, I hope to get back on the right foot. and be more on the ball. It seems like I'm like 2 steps behind this year. So do you guys have any questions?
Oh,
And feel free to call me on anything. Okay, I'm done.
okay. Well, I was to both of my township meetings, no new board members in either one. Pine River, they're doing rehab to their hall. And they have the money to do it. I went to Seville and they're talking about their new hall. Their brilliant supervisor asked me who did the drain assessments. And unfortunately, I didn't think fast to say that it was probably the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny. You think it might be the drain commissioner? Jesus. And I went to the Gratiot Community Foundation breakfast, and the shop teacher there is a preacher. And he gave a nice talk, and fitting for a preacher, he was really hitting people up for donations. So, and that's all I have. So we're going on to new business. Number 1, Parks and Rec.
Evening, everybody. A little backstory, the parks, between Reed and Upshur have 6 vault toilets, 3 at each. They've been in for at least 15 to 20 years, so they're starting to get in bad shape. Starting to rot on the outside, along the bottoms. So according to, accordance with the policy, I put a bid out on BidNet, along with an ad in the paper for people to get a hold of me, come out and look at them, give us quotes. And I received 2 between the times of October 21st and November 1st. And the 2 bids were between TJM Services out of Allegan, and Clay or Mills Constructions or Clay Mills. The TJM service, was for $59,400, and that's to, tear apart the outside and inside and put up sheet metal or steel metal that will last longer. And then Mills Construction was at 61,290. Now I get it's a little bit higher than the other one, but we're within the percentage. So talking with my board, Parks and Rec board, we recommend going with the local Mills Construction, Clay Mills, at $61,290 to complete all remodels of the vault toilets, so all 6. And it is in the budget. So we do recommend going with Mills Construction.
I so move that we approve the contract or the quote, excuse me, from Mills Construction for $61,290 to repair the 6 vault toilets, 3 at Upshur, 3 at Reed's.
I'll second it.
Should have to do a roll call.
I can do a roll call.
Okay. Moved by Steve and supported by Jan to go with the quote from Mills Construction for $61,290.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Gay,
Yes.
Commissioner Sapsy,
Yes.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Good evening.
Good job, John. Like that coat.
Thank
It wouldn't fit you.
Well, we moved the ARPA up,
Yes.
ARPA funds.
ARPA fund request. Who should go first here?
Well, I'll introduce the topic real quick.
What's ARPA?
ARPA funds are the American Rescue Plan Act, where they report to you on a monthly basis the balance of the $7.9 million that the county was granted from the federal government.
You might call it COVID.
COVID funds also. So what we had happened last week was 2 townships contacted me at the same time. I included the conversations or the emails from them in the work papers here that were on board book, where Wheeler had finished up their sewer project and put in a request to have their contract amended, to use, and they'll speak to this in just a moment, to use, the remaining funds that they'll have to work on their town hall. The day before that, I got a request via email from New Haven Township, seeing if we had any leftover funds, in order to work on a project that came up with the township hall that both commissioners had talked about in their meetings. So from here, I invited both townships to come speak to the board for the board to make a decision on that. If either of the commissioners want to have opening statements before we hear from the townships, so now would be probably be a good time to have that conversation.
Okay, I'll start. Since I've been around here, dealing with this, Dan and I have been dealing with this for quite a while now. The township, was given $250,000 to, fix and repair their, common sewer system that they have within the township, which is shared by Breckenridge. Breckenridge actually supplies, the piping to them. They they have the lagoon, they do all that. It's fed by a force main from Wheeler to Breckenridge. And Wheeler isn't obviously tasked with keeping up their end of the sewer. And so it took quite a long time to get this whole thing done for different reasons, but a lot of the back and forth is that they have to depend on Breckenridge a lot to fix and repair a lot of their things. So things, they wait a lot for their ability to collect the money or collect the bill so they can pay them. Well, they finally closed out on it, and because of their bid process, and they've done a real good job of doing that. They had about $74,000 left over. So I made a remark at the meeting. I said, well, you need to, as soon as possible, put a request in to have your contract amended so that you can have those funds to use for your kitchen. This has been a common.
George, who had the leftover?
Wheeler.
Wheeler. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So they have had a lot of requests for, obviously, to use their hall and that thing, and their kitchen's quite old and it needs a lot of upgrades. And within the last, when did senior center start? Back in May, June? April, okay. In the April timeframe, they came and asked Wheeler Township if they could, the Commission on Aging could have their senior center there. Because the one in Breckenridge, which is the old Masonic Hall, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a tiny little postage stamp. It really wasn't suiting their needs. And so Wheeler graciously extended the invitation for them to go out there, and they've started to have meetings there, and it's been going quite well. So they got to thinking about their kitchen. It didn't really serve the seniors as well as it could. And so they thought, well, with this money, we would upgrade the kitchen so it would actually not only help their residents when they have an event there, but it would help the senior citizens at the same time. And so that's their request. Is this unusual? No. We've done this how many times? 3 or 4?
Yeah, I dug through the contracts and it looked like we did it for Hope House Child Advocacy in Fulton Township.
Yeah. So we've done this as a matter of practice. People would come and we would obviously give that to them. And so that's what they're asking for tonight, so that they can complete their projects. And that's basically all I've got to say on that. I just would hope that, we would extend that contract to them, but we'd have to listen to the other folks.
And I respect all that completely. I just know that New Haven never came and asked for a dime. I'm on the board at the time. They now have a need that they have to do. They spent their allotment plus considerable amount, I believe, 37,000 out of their township coffers to do a demo on an old church that was, as the undersheriff, it was a problem. I mean, I remember they had issues with vandalism and it was going to be a bigger problem. It didn't get dealt with, so they had the money they had 50,000 from their ARPA funds that came to the township. They put 37,000, or the total ended up being 87,000, so or 80, over 80, it was close to 87,000 when it was done, right? 86,300. And they had this project torn down. Unforeseen to them, they had a water main break, the women's bathroom, correct? Which did extensive damage in doing that. And they had the contractor come in to look at it. There were other issues that were discovered that needed to be addressed, because you can't, like with most things, you start addressing one issue or you have to address multiples. Probably Tony can attest to that better than any of us, being the building inspector. You start with one project and end up with 6. But anyhow, they asked about it because I brought it up at the meeting about making sure that they had used all of their township funds. I do that at every one of my township meetings because I want to make sure that they realize that if they haven't spent it, they've got till the end of this year to get that contract signed, which brought up the conversation about the possibility if any funds were left. I said, I can't answer that honestly, but what I can do is refer you to, and it sounds like the very next day, I think they contacted you after the meeting, because it was 11:12 and the meeting was on 11:11. They contacted you that morning, that following morning, to find out if there was any money available from what I see on the email here. So that's my part of it, and how I suggested that New Haven look to the county and get some of the ARPA funds that may be available.
Can I add one other thing? All the townships that have come and asked for extras or have never done it, like Washington and Elba, they didn't do it either. But we've been able to find money that the county had, not the townships, but the county had. And I would hope that we would think that maybe there's some projects that we haven't spent the money on. There's quite a bit that we haven't spent money on, that we could redo some of those projects for them.
That's what I'm thinking too. It would be nice to help.
But I just wanted to add that.
Oh.
It's not that they would have to be out. We can make some decisions so that they could get money. So.
Kelly?
Hi, Kelly. I didn't even recognize you. My eyes are getting bad.
All right, I'm Kelly Bushry from Wheeler Township, the clerk. I'm just gonna kind of read this letter. The Wheeler Township Sewer Upgrade Project is coming to a final stages. And we had that agreed with Breckenridge because they maintain all our sewer and everything. So we've kind of put a thing together for finalizing. And many of the items has been completed under budget, and there's approximately 74,000 of allocated county ARPA funds remaining in that project. The Township Board is asking that the remaining funds be allocated toward the update of the Township Hall. Our Township Hall is available to the public to rent, and we are now hosting the area Food to Friends on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And during that, we've had up to 18 people so far as the top people. There's like about 8 regulars that come every time we host it, but then there's days that we have a lot and some more and stuff. So that's been a good thing for the senior citizens. And then we have received a lot of quotes to updating Township Hall, been working with Cross and Lincoln Woodworks out of Hemlock, and I think they have a plant here in Elma too. And we're doing, looking at replacing of the H kitchen, window replacements, electrical upgrades. There hasn't been any electrical upgrades since the building was built like in 1968. And when people start plugging in crock pots and stuff, it's not fun. Also looking to install handicap accessible doors now that we have the senior citizens there. New tables and chairs are needed, just to replace the old ones, old table and chairs that are 30+ years old. And, so far, the bid that we have is approximately $75,000. If we do go over that or whatever, the township can, have some money set aside in their funds that they could finish up the project and make the project completed. So, we are grateful for the collaboration with the Gratiot County and on the ARPA funds. The upgrades to our sewer system ensures we have everything up to date, clean and efficient system for our residents. This project's being under budget shows that the work necessary was completed without overspending when it is not needed. Allocating the remaining gifted funds to the township hall upgrade would benefit the area residents to ensure that the township hall is in good working order for many years to come. So that was just my recommendation.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, no more questions. Thank you.
Does Breckenridge have their own sewer system?
Yes, they maintain their own, but the
Are Wheeler's separate? They was,
Wheeler kind of has their own, but Breckenridge takes care of Wheeler's. We don't have any lagoons. Breckenridge has the lagoons. So our sewage goes to Breckenridge to their lagoon system, and Breckenridge maintains our system. And we pay them quite dearly for that. Any other questions? Thank you.
Ryan Smith here.
Well, as you know, Steve said, we never asked for any funding before in these two projects. We have this bathroom project. Our bathrooms are somewhat in compliance. We have a furnace and a water heater in the men's bathroom. That's not really compliant with what's going on. And that's one of our projects. I do have some bids and quotes on that. It does come to about $16,000, $16,300 to move the furnace out of the bathrooms and redo the bath. And for our other project, and that could be done pretty promptly. Our other project with this township church that was left to us, that project is completed now. And that one was over by about $36,000 over the ARPA fund that we got originally for all the townships got. So, and that's what I was asking for. Steve and I talked about it, talked with Chris the other day and thought maybe there was going to be a little extra that we could maybe dip into to help subsidize, save our general budget, you know.
so what's your name?
Brian Smith,
And you're talking about what township?
New Haven Township.
Haven.
They're all at the corner of Alger Warner.
Buchanan.
Warner and Buchanan. The other one that I go to that night is at the corner of Alger and
Yeah.
Buchanan.
That's in your district.
Yep.
So I want to get this straight. Kelly, you're needing 40 or 74,000 or 74,
75.
no, 75,000.
Yep.
And you're kind of needing 52,000.
Excuse me?
How much are you needing for your project?
We would be about your 52,000, yes.
About 52,000, okay. Well, I think it came to 52,300 and I think yours was 74,000 and maybe that was it.
Kelly wanted to say something to you, Jan.
Well, I'm just saying, like, 74,000 is the remaining left of the 250,000 that we already asked for from the commissioners.
Yeah.
For the ARPA funds, we're not gonna use all that 250 toward the sewer, we would like to use that rest of the 74,000 toward upgrading our house.
Oh, okay,
We're not
so
asking for extra money from
you just want to use
So
that
we allocate the funds from one project to start.
to another, okay. Do you have any money left over? Or will it take it all?
The quote she has is 75,000, so it would take it all.
It will take it
I'll
all.
take all the 250,000, okay, yes.
Okay. So all we would need to do is just come up with 52,300. You.
Well, it's not the end of the year yet.
If it's possible. We've never asked for anything and
Well,
we typically don't like to ask for anything. Just that we had talked and thought maybe there was some extra left and
no,
I didn't want to see it go to
never
waste.
say never. Washington Township started out and we didn't think we had any money. And by golly, guess what happened? We found some money. And then Elba Township came and we didn't have any money, but guess what? We found some money. So I'm not gonna sit here and say you're gonna get money, but I'm gonna say we got to the end of the year to figure this out.
And I appreciate your time for listening to my. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because my question, Chris, you know where we are on these funds better than anybody. I would be amiss if I said I knew exactly where we were at on them. So you know where projects are in different stages and what have you. So I guess that would be where I'd look to you for where are we at on these?
Well, I can tell you that I have the remaining amount of funds that the county planned on spending. All of those projects are in motion. Because we are getting very close to the end of the year and I'd rather not have to encumber any of it, just have it all spent.
Yeah.
Now, can some of those projects be covered with general fund money? Yes, they can. But that's what this conversation is between the five of you right now. You know, do we amend the contract with Wheeler? Do we somehow split the remaining amount of money that Wheeler has between the two townships? Or do we look for money within the county allocation to help fund New Haven Township? Now, to fund the $16,000 bathroom project, I could probably squeeze that out. I could sit down with Tony and we could look at some of the projects that we have in motion. See if we can scale them back, see if we can delay them, etc. But to also additionally fund the church demolition of $36,000 for that, that would have a negative impact on the projects that we have rolling forward right now. By negative impact, I mean we'd have to cancel one or two. Which is acceptable. I mean, we aren't.
We got time to figure this out. That's all I'm saying is
But, I mean, if the board makes a decision tonight, I'm prepared to go forward with any three of those scenarios.
I obviously want to fight for my township, you want to fight for yours. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? That's how
we do it.
since they haven't been here, I feel like they're faced with the two different predicaments. They went over on a thing that God bless the government. They get handed potatoes like you got handed to church that you didn't probably really want, but you got it. And then it was your $80,000 headache to get rid of it because the church coffers didn't want to pay for it. Just like you didn't know that this thing was coming down the pipe either, that you were gonna have these issues in your township hall. But I also see Wheeler's point, they had this money and you have to do updates to your hall. Everybody has to do updates to their hall all the time. And this was a kind of a once in a, Lord, I hope the government only does this one time, where they handed out all this money to people. And we never are faced with another pandemic, not in my lifetime anyhow. So, I understand and I respect that. I just want to make sure that both townships are, allocated funds so that they can take care of these projects, to the best of our abilities. I mean, it's not, I don't want to see any of this ARPA money. I've talked to Chris 100 times about this. I don't want to see any of this money go back to, I mean, we want to spend every dime that we were allocated, and that's what we need to do.
The big cost would be demolishing the church, right?
It's done.
Oh,
They've already, yeah, they've spent the money. So this would be literally a transfer of the money. It could be done tomorrow if they knew it. So, I mean, correct?
I'd like to see him be able to continue on, get this done. You know, I've been on the board for a long time, and I don't think the townships have really, in all the years I've been on the board, I don't think you guys have ever asked for any money, and you guys have done just little bits of things here and there. I mean, look at the town hall that finally put an inside toilet in this year.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things that have been forever and ever. We've got them, and we got the money now today because of the wind turbines. And I think that's something we can do back to our community, is give them the money and let them get this done this year while it's still nice out and move on.
Jan, can I have clarify what you said? Are you saying fund 100% of both townships?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I just know that the townships, I've been to a lot of the townships to meetings. And I know they're very cautious about the money that they spend. They don't spend it foolishly, that is for sure. And they go without. And I think now that we have these wind turbines in our backyard, we should be accommodating them a little bit. If it hadn't been for these townships, Wheeler Township, New Haven, these are the people that put the wind turbines in their backyard. Let's give them some of that money back. And let them get things cleaned up and looking nice, and it's gonna be another 50 years before you guys will be able to tear down a building and build a new one. Because money doesn't come along like this that often.
I do think it would be in the best interest of all parties involved to come up with a solution here tonight, though, especially if we're gonna consider moving, bumping our next meeting back a week.
Then let me do this. Let's take this in two parts. I'll make a motion that we would amend the ask the Wheeler Township, that $74,000. And then we can handle the other one next. But I think we have to keep them separate because we're amending a contract.
And then we'll work on getting them.
So what I'm looking for is a support.
I'll support, I'll support. So what we need to do is come up with 52,000, or do you need 53?
Nope.
42, let's not talk.
Yeah, wait a second.
Right now, you're dealing with the Wheeler thing.
We got two separate issues here.
Okay,
Okay, moved by George, supported by Jan to redo the contract for Wheeler Township for the $75,000. 74.
Yeah.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
you're gonna say, is there any nays?
Is there any nays?
No, I don't know. Did everybody say yes?
Please so. And I'll let
We're supposed to.
I'll let Steve state have the next motion.
And I so move that we as a county somehow fund the New Haven Township expenses of 36,300, was it? That went for the church demo, and the 16,300 for the upgrades to their township hall, which is a total of 52,600. I did the math right.
And can you put in that motion also that we're to be using ARPA money? Because we don't want it.
Well, ARPA money is, if it's available.
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
We'll figure this out.
Sure.
My point is, if we don't
Want to open the box, yeah.
we open up a box.
Yep,
You don't want to do that. This is ARPA money we're dealing with.
of ARPA funds.
That's right.
Complete the $52,600 for New Haven Township.
I'll second that motion.
Moved by Steve, supported by Jan to award Wheeler Township $52,600. New Haven, pardon me.
Yeah. Give it to the wrong township, you'll really be.
Somebody's gonna get money. They weren't even here.
All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
That's it. Move on.
Go on and both your remodel projects, move forward.
Well,
Well,
yeah, we're finding the money and we're gonna get it, Dwayne, but
Yeah.
I can't say it's tomorrow.
Oh, they'll be working on it.
That's right.
You're definitely gonna wanna enter into contracts as soon as possible, so that we, if it carries on into the new year, we have that contract, at least we can fall back on.
Contracts have to be signed and you want them actually by the 20th of December, correct?
Yep. And I will need
So
a
you have
copy.
time to review it.
Okay. Good job.
When you guys have an open house, don't forget to invite us.
Okay, moving on. New carpet. Only.
Evening. Well, the carpet over at Commission on Aging is horrible.
Yes.
It's rough shape. They were in the capital improvement plan for, budgeted for $35,000. I think for the last couple of years. We sent out an RFP. We had two companies, Needham's Home Center and St. Louis gave us two different quotes. One for $34,23, one for $30,282. The second quote was from Nebbles, Interiors by Nebbles right here in Ithaca. They came in at $29,850. My recommendation to the board is to award that bid to Interiors by Nebbles and we'll get that carpet replaced.
Who did Needham's give?
They gave us two different options. There was two different tile sizes. One was 18 by, we're using commercial carpet tiles glued down. That way if a hallway or something wears out, we don't have to replace everything. We don't have to pull everything.
So
It's a better way to
a
go.
replacement of the rug, it's tiles.
The square.
Yeah, we're gonna do away with the old carpet that's there and go with commercial tile in there.
It's a lot of places.
Yeah, it just makes more sense for high traffic areas especially. But, yep. And, the guy that estimated it told me he could start tomorrow. He's not listening.
That's the guy.
Listening?
Yeah, Jeff, you're gonna start tomorrow, right? Yeah.
This is,
As quick as you did what?
this is Jeff Benish from Interiors by Novelty. He joined tonight to see how the decision went, so. But yeah, it's in really rough shape.
I so move that we accept the quote or bid from Interiors by Neville for $29,850 to recarpet the Commission on Aging out of the capital improvement funds.
Sport.
You gotta say it. Get just a little.
Amend that.
We got an amendment.
COA is a millage funded
Oh.
program, so
Okay.
capital,
That's not the right
that's
word.
funded by the general fund, so
Okay,
it doesn't just
okay.
leave off how it's.
Strike where it's coming out of. from capital improvement.
I'll allow you to do that.
Sorry.
Moved by Steve, supported by George to award the contract for the Commission on Aging's carpet replacement to Neville's, $29,850. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thank you.
The other thing I have, I was approached by Tom Clark at Animal Control, and they were interested in replacing their flooring. That old BCT flooring out there is in pretty rough shape. I don't even know how old that stuff is. It's been there a long time.
It's gotta be there since they moved in. I don't
I'm
remember.
assuming so.
Yeah.
We put out an RFP for that and Interiors by Neville. They were the only ones that submitted a bid. Their estimate came in at $11,500 to remove the existing and replaced with new, glue down LVT. And the new cove base around, the 4-inch cove base around. This out there has to be obviously water resistant type, right?
Mhm.
So it's pretty bad shape.
This is our annual, general fund cyclical maintenance. So last year was district court, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and then I so move that we approve the quote for the replacement of carpet at the animal shelter for the interiors by Neville of $11,500.
By Steve, supported by Dan, George. To approve the bid by Neville's for $11,500 to replace the carpeting on animal control. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
We will get it taken care of.
Thank you again. Thanks, Tony. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Next up, we have Bill Leonard's contract amendment.
Leonard.
Those of you that attend township meetings where we provide blight services, you're fully aware that blight services is and always has been a hot topic there. Bill, myself, and Deandra, we meet on a weekly basis. And one of the things that we talk about is how we can provide a better service to these townships and villages when it comes to blight. The first thing that we did was we updated the ordinance. Updating the ordinance allowed us to streamline the process, to skip steps that take a long time, to get cases to the prosecutor's office quicker so that there's more teeth behind the requests that come from the county. We recently brainstormed a few more ways that we could improve this program. And one of them is to make improvements to our current process, and I'll get into that a little bit. But the other is to increase the hours that are dedicated by the blight officer in community development to this program. As you know, community development also does all the permitting, and they also do all the soil erosion. Permitting and soil erosion are a huge factor in economic development within our county. Across the permits department and soil erosion come sometimes tens of hundreds of millions of dollars in projects. And that does take precedence over blight. And the only way for us to get blight more time is to increase the amount of hours that Bill Leonard works for the county. He currently works 29 hours a week. And he has a very structured hours that he comes in and work. What we would like to do is increase that to 3 more hours a week, 6 more hours a pay period, and give him a flexible schedule. That way he's not coming in to the county on a day that it's raining and he can't get out there and meet with people. He can pick the hours that work best for the community and work best for him so that he can maximize the efficiency.
No downtime. I like it.
And increasing 6 hours of pay period, it would be expected that he would spend all of that time on blight. And he has assured me that that will more than double what he's able to put into that program right now. He has agreed to this. He's actually happy to work extra, and he's also very happy to have more of a flexible schedule that will work around how busy he is for certain times. So what I'm asking is this board to amend the contract. I highlighted 2 areas, I believe it was on page 4. One of them updates allowing for sick leave based on a new state law that's going to take effect. That's this kind of collateral damage update there that had nothing to do with this request, but needs to be in there. But increasing his hours from 29 a week to 55.
So that's
64 hours of pay.
64.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, you said week and I thought, oh, yours picked up.
29 a week to 64 AP.
Okay.
No time will he exceed 40 in one.
Yeah.
One.
We don't want, yeah, we gotta be careful of that.
Is there a motion on that?
Yes, please.
I so move that we amend the contract for Bill Leonard to increase employee shall work 64 hours per pay period. At no time shall there be more than 40 hours be worked in one single week without expressed consent from the county administrator. And also the employee will earn paid sick time in accordance with the mandate set forth by the state of Michigan.
I'll second it.
Moved by Steve, supported by Jan, to allow Bill Leonard to work 3 more hours a week. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
And just real quick, I'm just gonna highlight the internal improvements that we're gonna have. Just take a second. Starting immediately, Deandra within community development will be updating a spreadsheet that tracks each and every open white complaint. The spreadsheet will show where they're at in the process, what the next step is, what the current holdup is, and who is responsible for alleviating that holdup. That spreadsheet will go to every township supervisor that has an open complaint, so it will hold us more accountable and it will hold the townships more accountable. And the communication will be there for not only the township supervisors, but the trustees also will be. We'll have.
Is that something that we as commissioners, so we know, because I hear about blight at the township meetings.
Yeah, it would be nice to know if you have a problem child and so.
Absolutely, it'd be nice.
Talk to you about it, you're informed.
Yeah, that's my
Wonderful.
point is, if somebody starts asking questions about it, sure would be nice to be able to go, matter of fact.
Yeah.
This is balls in your court right now.
Right.
Not in the county's court, you know what I mean? And if it's in the county's court,
Yeah.
you know, what.
Some of those you might not know, but then you know not enough about it to ask the question.
Exactly. That's my point is that something that, so we kind of know
Mhm.
our, you know.
Yep, any commissioner that would like to be carbon copied on that, I'd be happy to put on there.
It'd behoove everyone to get a copy because you go to township meetings and one of the things that I believe a county commissioner should be well aware of is what's going on from the county's perspective back to the township.
I think that's true too.
And so you need to know that. And it's nice to be able to ask the question of the township, well, how are you coming on that? Or how are we coming on that? You know, so at least you're informed of what's going on. And it makes you a lot better commissioner.
I agree.
Yep, so currently, just so you know, communication between community development and a township would be individual emails.
Mhm.
So waiting for this or looking for that, or this is the delay, but if everything is summarized in one spot given to you on a regular basis, it's just gonna.
Great, but I would just say when you go to a township meeting, tune into what they're saying. And a lot of times you say, well, you got anything for me to bring back, you know, from your perspective in the county? And say, well, I'm having a problem. I'm like, fine, we'll take care, we'll look into it. You know, those are the things you got. You ask the questions, you can find out a lot. Sometimes you don't want to ask. I don't know why. Kelly's laughing back there.
Nothing like the Board of Commissioners here at the county. We always welcome questions.
Excellent.
That's right.
Okay,
Okay.
I skipped over audit firm selection.
Oh, okay.
I didn't mean to do that.
Well, I can go ahead and take care of
It's
that.
the next thing on the agenda, right?
All right, skip over. You're right there.
So we issued a RFP for audit services historically, Gratiot County has signed 3-year contracts with audit firms. So our 3-year contract with Yonio was up. So we issued that and we got the 4 most utilized audit firms gave us proposals for our 3-year contract going forward. They are all very reputable. The references speak for themselves, and it is up to the board to decide who we'll be working with going forward. Yo and Yo is the only one that has a location within the county. They did come in significantly lower than other firms. And they expressed that they do enjoy working with us and giving back to the community here, so. Well,
It's on their
Take any-
travel expenses and everything.
true.
Why wouldn't we go with them again?
Aren't you gonna make a motion?
Make the motion.
Make the motion, I'll second it.
I haven't even supported it. I make a motion that we stay with Yo for the audit, and I guess it's for, you said 3 years.
Sport?
Moved by Tim, supported by Steve, to enter into a contract with Yo and Yo for the next 3 years for our audit. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, we need to decide if moving from December the 3rd to the December 10th next meeting will work.
I gotta look at my calendar
It'll
here.
be back to back then, 10th, 17th.
It would be.
I think, the 10th would be great.
So we're going to go from,
Yeah, from the 3rd to the 10th.
For what?
Meeting.
Oh, the meeting.
Angie, do you want
meeting
to?
would be on the 3rd of December, right?
So-
Normally?
So here's the thought. I would have to close the packet next week, Tuesday.
Oh, you got Thursday and Friday off.
Can pick up
Okay,
on Wednesdays. So we've only
Oh.
got 4 days.
well, that cuts me out of 2 township meetings on the 10th.
What about that Monday?
You're welcome.
Oh,
Oh,
What about Monday instead?
I'm going out of state
no.
for Thanksgiving. I might make it back Monday, but going all next.
We're talking
no,
the
we're
10th.
talking the week after though.
Week
Instead of having it on the 2nd or 3rd, we can move to the 9th or 10th.
That would be better for me. But then what, one with the second one?
The 17th, so there's not gonna be
It'd
much
just be a week
turnaround.
apart.
No, that would be our normal meeting day.
Few weeks.
Yeah, the 17th.
We don't want to have a Christmas week.
Yeah, we're not gonna do it on
We
Christmas.
got Christmas coming up and we got all sorts of
She's
issues.
not coming here on Christmas Eve.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, I've got
We
family.
do last weekend, so.
Consider y'all family, but it's not as close as my blood.
Very.
Waiting on the Virgin Mary Christmas Eve. I'm not coming.
So here's one of the thoughts, your meeting the second meeting in December, even though we only have a week turnaround, you have all of the board appointments, so it's still gonna be a very busy meeting.
Mhm.
So even though there's only 1 week for people to get stuff on that agenda, it's gonna be a long one, because you have to appoint. There's
Appointments for when?
for next year, for Commission on Aging, Veterans,
Okay.
Urban Rec,
So
there's a bunch of them.
so that has to be the first meeting of the month?
No, that will be the second
Okay,
meeting in
okay.
December.
All I'm saying is that if we look at and compress, the word I'm looking for, compress our things down, can we just cancel the meeting and just have it on 17th?
Well, I think there'd be too many things there.
Think so?
You've got Brent coming from, MMR. That's gonna be time consuming. And,
I'd almost need,
What is your thought on that, Chris?
It would be a very long meeting.
It would be long.
maybe we better not.
I'm up for any, I mean, I'm
Well,
up for whatever works best for the board.
packets. You're gonna know, you normally do them on a Thursday, I understand that. But what can we just draw a deadline and say all packets gotta be in by the Monday, which would be, and then have them, we work Wednesday, right?
Our meeting on this 3rd.
Yeah, just have them, just have a deadline on anybody that's gonna be on the agenda has to be in by, go back to November. 20, yeah, but it has to be in by the 26th. so she can publish them out on the 27th. And then we'll have our meeting on the 3rd, and then she can get the packets out.
You could have a packet, but if you don't have much on there until the following, the 17th, you're still gonna have a huge, long meeting. There's not gonna be that much on the 3rd. What is wrong with having it on Wednesday?
With you. Whatever.
Wednesday, would the 4th? Or the 11th?
I think we should have it on a Monday. We've never had a meeting
So
on
then-
Monday.
Yeah, we did last month.
Yeah.
Once we had a meeting on a Monday.
Yeah,
Might close in the packet for you guys to.
No, I don't
pick up
think you
and
should
then-
have it on the 4th. I think you should go to the following week. And hey, there's 5 days in a week. We can pick one of those days. Monday or Wednesday. Tuesday is bad because I have a lot of meetings on Tuesday too. So do it on a Monday or a Wednesday or a Thursday.
The meeting's on Monday.
Meetings too.
Yeah. Our second week,
We'll be on the.
commissioners here, on that second week, it's full of meetings.
Yep,
I see.
whole week is.
It's full of meetings, and we'd have to
Then
miss
maybe we should
meetings.
just
I
leave
don't
it the
like
way
that.
it is.
We're having a meeting, you know, they just,
And if you can get MMR to come on the 3rd. So
They'll
that-
come anytime you
so
want
that
them
we
to
don't
come.
Get them.
And we could do that. We could, that would be kind of a long meeting. So go ahead, let's do it on the 3rd then.
We'll just leave it as is.
You don't think you want it on the 4th? Wednesday?
that wouldn't help her any.
No, because, I mean, unless you want me to
Because say,
pack
you
it
can
on
just,
Monday and you guys have one day to read it.
if we just put in there that anybody that wants to be on the agenda has to be in by the 26th to accommodate the packets, period. And we change agendas all the time. If somebody's got something really they gotta have, we can obviously gonna put it on there. It's not like we're gonna kick anybody off.
You can always add somebody out. I agree with you.
So
So we're gonna do it on the 3rd.
let's have it on a
December.
Regular time.
Regular time.
But I'm closing the packet on Monday.
Okay. Okay, I will get a hold of Brett and tell him too, so it's on his calendar. Hey, I went
That out.
talking too. I've asked about the Max Michigan Association of Counties has a training for us. It's to bring everybody up to date of the laws and regulations and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Can we kind of find out when that's gonna be, when they're gonna be? Usually they have one in Frankenmuth, which is the closest, or there's Traverse City, which is the furthest. Probably, but, I would like a new book.
Maybe we can fit into that.
Okay, we all set?
All set.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we suspend the regular meeting to go into the finance meeting.
I'll support it.
He's in the books.
Moved by George, supported by Tim to leave this meeting and go into the finance meeting. All those in favor, say aye.
All right, you need 5 minutes, Tim?
I'm good.
All right, good. We're just having a different meeting, it's finance meeting.
Can't read this, it's too little.
Okay.
Oh.
Out of here.
That's
Stay
good.
safe. Watch for deer on the way home. Be careful, everybody.
Careful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome. You're welcome.
it's bad out there. In Breckenridge last night, I almost hit one going over, one coming back. I was gonna make these townships have meetings in the daytimes. Wait,
Jerry, were you gonna address us?
I'm sorry.
We're in the finance meeting now.
no,
Say when it's her turn, she's gonna address.
You're not.
it's ready to go when she time.
Pardon me, all
And
that.
Mr. New Shirt? Don't give her any more authority than, I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, let's go.
you wanna run the meeting? Come
I
on.
know Jordy's,
see that necklace is, that's how big her head gets. She can put that thing home.
Oh. Well, we wanna get out of here tonight, so let's start this finance meeting.
All right, so update on our ARP funding, total funds spent or earmarked is 100%, $7.9 million. Total amount that we have expensed is $7.3 million, so we're almost to the finish line. We've got several, the biggest projects that we have open still is the Seville Township. Hamilton Township actually closed out their project, so they made their last request, so that project is closed out. Expenses that we noted in October is the LED light replacement project. That was the only one where money went out the door in October. Documenting the Woodhill contract expenses. They have not billed us for October's work yet. We do have them working on year-end closing and chart of accounts still, so I'm expecting a pretty big bill from them coming up the next time. MERS OPEB balances. OPEB's up 8.9% on the calendar year versus 25% of the S&P. And I think that's up another percent or two since I published this. It's been on a tear. We are working on our OPEB actuary report right now. We're getting the data to the actuary firm. Once that report is completed, we will know what our liability is. During the budgeting process, this board did approve that we would pay off that liability. So once that report, I get that, I'll bring it to you and we'll know what our final number is. I do expect it still to be hovering around that $400,000 to $430,000 mark, and I believe so.
Get rid of that problem.
Yep, we will get that taken care of. Without any questions, I'll move on to the cash balances. So for October, we are looking at just under $10.7 million in our general fund. A little over $800,000 in our COVID recovery fund. That's a little higher than what we just talked about because there is interest things that are in there still. Delinquent tax, just a shade under $7 million. You see, looking at that year over year, we're in a good position. Without any questions, we'll give you a moment to look over the check register.
I have a question.
Okay.
Right here. I lost it again, just a minute. Right here, is that Motorola?
Motorola?
63,318.
Yep, that is the final payment for the, wasn't a CAD was it CAD?
This past CAD project.
Yep, the CAD project at Central Dispatch.
Or whatever like they call
They
it.
have now paid that off and,
Okay.
you'll still be seeing that going forward because we entered into another contract with Motorola for the tower in North Elma, or North Pine River, actually.
River Township, yep. But as you recall, that's a pass-through, that's not.
As I look at this, you see my wife's name front and center on page one. I just want to say that she's been doing medical examinations, MEI calls for the sheriff.
$300.
He's a medical examiner. Did you know that?
No, I thought.
Well, she works for the medical examiner.
So
What about Michigan State?
What about?
41,522.
MSU has privatized the MSU Extension Department. So they pay all their employees through MSU. They pay their computer. There's a lot of expenses that MSU directly pays, and then we reimburse them from the ship. It was a lot cheaper for them to work their own contracts and work through their own people. And it lowered indirect costs and it was less work for administration. So it was good for
There's a win all the way around.
all parties involved. They are also looking for a new place to rent. So if any of you come across a building big enough to house MSU Extension in the county, they are in the market.
Gratiot Integrated Health Network, 50,000. Is that like health insurance?
Our contract with them annually is $200,000.
That's for your mental health. Every year we contribute that money.
Mental health.
Yeah, the board you're on.
That was just their quarterly payment, right?
Yeah.
We have to do that. That's by law.
That's the board I go to.
Yes. But we do that once a year. That's by statute.
we provide them just enough money to be able to maximize their federal grants.
Well, don't get me started.
Makes some noise there. So
Anything else? We can continue on.
Just a minute, I had one, but I can't find it now. I had a report, I can't find it.
Next month.
Well, we can start reviewing the revenue and expenditure, and if you
Get some-
find it, I'm happy to
Let's
answer.
go back, yeah.
Revenue expenditure report, this is just 1 month's worth of activities, so,
That's not 100 pages. It's only 100. 4 pages.
balances and the budget has reset.
Anybody got any questions on the literature report?
It's not.
If not, we can go on and hopefully Jan can catch up.
Just want to point out the general fund expenditures are really high, but that's because we sent that $1 million to the airport fund. So that's $1 million of the 1.7.
Yeah.
There was the appropriation to the airport.
The airport fund. Didn't get spent, it's just in another fund.
Yes.
Don't get excited.
Yep. Obviously, revenues are high because we're still collecting taxes.
Okay, Terry, come on up.
Time has come.
Yeah, here we are. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to Chris for the acknowledgement and kind words earlier. I have a great staff and they have made our accomplishments possible. So thank you, Chris. My reports are the investments first. As you can see, the interest is remaining.
Hold and steady.
Yep, hold steady.
Yep.
It has gone down as the feds make the cuts. You know, our interest rates have gone down, but
Unfortunately, they're not a lot yet.
right.
Quarters of a point total.
Quarter of a point was the last one. So, and it, you know, it's reflected, but we're still doing all right.
I don't expect anything for a while now. So.
Any more cuts? No, I don't
We
either.
do anything till Trump gets.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So those have, you know, those have remained well. Or as well as can be expected with, you know, with the cuts that we know are coming. And then the transfers, the bank transfers for the month of October, nothing jumps out there. And the revenues for the month are nothing that I haven't seen before. Does anybody have any questions with any of the reports that you have in your packet?
Have we had any problems with, closing out the taxes? Has anybody gotten behind or townships all caught up? No problems there? Everything
Yep.
going good?
Yep, everything's going well. They statutorily, they have to submit or distribute to
Yeah.
us the funds that they collect on a regular basis. And we've got a couple that are, you know, usually lag behind. We send out a lot of emails. But when we receive a check from them, we also require that they send us their database, not only the reports that come with the check, but the database. That way, as we go along throughout the year, we can make sure that everything balanced so that at the end of the year, settlement is not a nightmare. So,
We didn't have very good communications here last week or so. We got that straightened out, I think.
yeah, we reach out to them quite often, but
So something happened and,
yeah,
but I think it got taken care of.
it did, yes.
I just didn't like that lag and I thought, what the heck?
Yeah, we hadn't, yeah, there's sometimes things like that happen, but this isn't the first year that we've done this.
Yeah.
This has always been our practice,
You always got
so,
somebody that's
Yeah.
you're dealing with.
Sometimes, like you said, there's communication issues, or somebody sends an email or thinks they send an email and it doesn't get sent, or we don't receive it for some reason, things happen, but the process is the same as it has been for
It's like,
quite a few years, so.
if you're not receiving something and just, if you've made it a policy to check up, we should have got that by now. Why didn't we get it?
Yeah, we do. We do that, but they're not in the office all the time.
No, they're.
It's not their
People
full job.
that are treasurers and townships have other jobs.
Yes, they do.
And they're either at work or on the farm or
Yep.
whatever, and it's tough. It's tough. It's
It
tough
is.
all the way around.
And we know that, we realize that, so.
Get all their phones and their text message. You text them. When they're driving a tractor, they can get it.
Goodbye.
We did.
Many.
Yep, does anybody have any other questions? Yes.
Talking with Chris.
Golf cart.
What?
Golf carts, sorry.
Oh. We bought a bunch of golf carts.
How many?
6, right?
3 on each.
Yeah, 3 for each part. Yep. Been talking with Chris on the end of the year and things are looking good and stuff like that. Are you guys still happy with Woodhill Group and their group that they're working in there? Are we getting our books straightened out? I know that there was a lot of, I think you guys call them funds or line items that were like obsolete or something like that. Are we getting all that stuff cleaned up so it makes your job easier and your job easier when you're going through that stuff line by line to get all the stuff out of there that
Plus,
doesn't
we've
need to be in
got
there?
the chart of accounts changes,
Yeah.
has gotten thrown in there too, that Chris has had to deal with. So.
Yes, I'm just trying to make sure that we're getting it, you know what I mean, so that it's nice and
Clean,
clean.
yes.
Makes your job a heck of a lot easier and it makes his job a heck of a lot easier when you're going through it, when things are clean and stuff that doesn't need. to be in
You're
there.
kidding, yeah.
Yeah, so,
The finance chair, I take care of.
But yeah, we are. I'm very happy with the job that Woodhill has done. We are, to date, we are ready for audit. We are ready. There's a few things, of course, that have to happen between now and the end of the year, but that's expected because we can't do them yet. So, but yeah, we are exactly where we need to be right now.
perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Woodhill, separate from your.
Yeah, they're a firm that helps us with our everyday accounting and the. Jen, did you find your question?
Yeah, actually, I got a couple. What is this one up here? I can't even pronounce it. Is,
Vortec Pharmaceuticals.
oh, yeah, where's that at?
It's gotta be the jail.
It's ready, closed, good now, good mail.
There you go.
So
Okay.
I have an interest rate question for you. I think with the future president coming in, we expect that interest rates will probably start dropping. That's one of his talking points. Is there a spot where if our interest rates fall to a certain spot, that's where we're gonna look at it and reassess where we put our money? Do you have something in mind like that where?
I do have something in mind like that. What I'm finding right now is everybody's pretty much the same, at the same rate. But yeah, if one falls below a certain point, then yeah, I will definitely start to call around to the others and say, hey, what are you thinking? What's going to happen? And probably transfer those funds to one of the other that we're already utilizing.
Okay.
But Michigan class is usually the one that, they go high, they stay higher than the others
Basically, they're the leaders really.
They are.
As far as the highest interest rate.
because they're a government investment company. So, but yeah, I have thought about that and
The ones that sell a lot of bonds then, is that they bond out money? Is that Michigan Class that can do that?
no, that's more of a treasury. They're more of a treasury. They put it out there into a million different companies and that, floats around out there.
Investing in the government.
They can do a lot more things than let's say the county can do.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
But they still have to stay with our requirements, with our money. So, yeah, but yes, Chris, I do have that on my radar. Okay? Any other questions?
Thank you, Terry.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else that come before the finance meeting?
I make a motion to leave the fine
Pay the bills.
In order to pay the bills.
in order to pay the bills.
There you go. I approve that.
By Tim, supported by George to leave the finance meeting to come back into the regular meeting with intention of paying the bills. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Bills are gonna get paid. Mike, you got any public comment?
Countdown's on, Sheriff.
Two new deputies, they'll be starting on the first of December.
Good.
We're gonna hire one more.
Now, does that?
How many are you down now? Just one?
That's amazing. Compared to where we were, you know.
One after they get out of the academy.
Or not, but
I get two that'll graduate the academy December 13th. They're included in my number.
Yeah, and then you only have one, right?
Just one.
Just one
I
spot?
don't know if the board is aware, but Isabella County's sheriff doesn't have any more road, he suspended the road patrol. So there's a lot of officers that are looking for jobs, right?
He's 13 or 16 have got them.
So
That's where you snag two, right?
as the state police.
Yeah, they've got state and the local, but that's you're dependent a lot on state. It's not a good thing. Let's put it that way.
Troopers can get pulled out of that post anytime there's something they need to be, the state level.
Downtown county.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not gonna be good.
Buckham County still is not back full staff,
Well, they're not.
and they've been, 10 years ago.
Well,
You don't replace all the experience you took, you don't replace that.
Can they, Mike, can they do that in Isabel County? Can they let all other deputies go?
Suspend the road.
Not state mandated.
Yeah.
Road patrol is not state
Yes,
mandated. That's why we have a millage.
They have to have jail in place.
Not a road.
Sheriff and undersheriff.
Yep.
So there, that.
I'm gonna give you this, but I don't want your copy. I just put my copy back.
I will.
And I'll pick it up.
Well, it's hard to-
You don't have to stay over.
Well, thank you.
It'd be really hard to get the runners back under.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I wasn't done yet.
Well, it's just a motion. All right. What do you got to say?
Yeah.
I really don't think a motion to adjourn is debatable.
It's not.
We do need a second.
If the agenda is for, we're done. We're.
Moved by Tim, supported by
I get to.
to adjourn.
Aye.